You've probably heard me talking about this self-sufficient living skills bundle that's been going on. And I have been spending the last week flipping through so many of the incredible resources within this bundle. Now, I will say there's a lot. There's over 118 different ebooks and courses and lessons sharing incredible wisdom and knowledge with you so you can live off the land and you don't have to rely on this corrupt and broken system for everything for your family. Anyways, I wanted to share some of my favorite things. One, first off, is off-grid homeopathy. This course is loaded with so much incredible knowledge, talking about homeopathy for first aid, for colds and flu, how to make your own homeopathic remedies. Like, as an herbalist who loves to teach that stuff, that's pretty exciting to hear it in the homeopathy realm. There's also some incredible fermentation guides, so many other amazing herbal recipes and food recipes, and how to make your own sourdough bread, how to do your own organic gardening and canning of all of your foods. Really, there is so much. And yes, I know. I've talked about it a ton, but this entire bundle is only $50 right now until Sunday, March 24th. I'm sharing my herbal first aid skills, which is a course that's $47 on its own. I'm sharing recipes that I used when I got my products into REI for herbal first aid kits and so much more. You'll have to check it out. I'm serious. Like, you can absolutely change your life with this bundle. So there is a link in the show notes for you, and I hope you check it out. I hope you take advantage. Don't worry, you don't have to go through everything right away. You can access everything for up to a year. Once you're in the course or have the download, it's yours for life. It is a steal of a deal. Okay, self-sufficient living skills bundle in the links for you. Hello and welcome to the Herbalist Path, a podcast where you'll discover how to make your own herbal remedies at home so that you can take better care of yourself, better care of your family, and better care of our planet. I'm Mel. I'm a clinical herbalist, environmental educator, and mountain living mama with this crazy passion for teaching more mamas and their little loves how to use plants as medicine in a safe, effective, and tasty way so that there can be an herbalist in every home. Again, it's an absolute honor to have you on the journey down the herbalist path with me so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. It is Thanksgiving week. I am just about to get our van all packed up and head down to my mama's down south and spend the next few days with my family, which obviously I love. And I love getting together with them and cooking and making this incredible feast. And I really think it's so important that we all start to recognize how much medicine really is in our food. So last night we just did our live class in Apothecary Mamas, and it was cooking with medicine. So I figured I'm going to bring some of that to you guys, to you podcast listeners, so that you can start to really embrace all the good medicine that is in our common culinary herbs, because there's just so freaking much. And I feel like this very simple knowledge is a bit lost in our world today. Like, we as humans in our culture now are so hyper fixated on convenience and convenience of our food. And often we forget that this food and these herbs that flavor our foods were the very same medicine that all of our ancestors used for thousands and thousands of years. Like, this stuff was passed down from generation to generation because these herbs work not only as food and as medicine. The ones we're going to talk about today come from the Mediterranean region, and they are all loaded with antioxidants and were used as preservatives for meats and fats so they wouldn't go rancid. And so one of the Apothecary Mama students last night asked me how that happened, how they preserved the meats with these herbs. And I'm not entirely clear on it, honestly, but my assumption is that they wrapped their meats in these herbs and put them in some special curing spot in their home. I really don't know. If you do and you want to reach out to me and let me know how that's done, I would love to hear that from you and to learn. So reach out to me on social media at TikTok or Instagram, The Herbalist Path, all over the place. Or you could also hit me up at Mel at The Herbalist Path. I would love to hear it from you. So anyways, I wanted to just talk about 3 of my favorites and how hopefully when you're cooking with them throughout this week, you can look at them and smell them and taste them and listen to this episode and think about how much amazing medicine is in there. So the first one I want to talk about is sage, or Salvia officinalis. And I want to talk about it because I freaking love sage. It makes me think of all of the stuffing, and I love stuffing so much that I'm making like 3 different kinds of stuffing this year. So I'm doing a butternut squash, apple, cranberry, sage sausage stuffing. I'm doing a vegan one that is cauliflower and all kinds of veggies and herbs and spices. There's Brussels sprouts and all the herbs we're going to be talking about today, and of course garlic and all the good stuff. And then I'm doing a gluten-free bread stuffing, sausage and mushrooms, because oh my gosh, I cannot get enough stuffing. I love it so much. So I'm excited for these kinds of things, and I'm excited that sage is a huge piece of it. So I think back to like the history and the way people use these herbs is one of the cool things that I've learned is that it was believed that sage would thrive the most when it was being grown in the homes that were dominated by women. So mamas, grow your sage, right? This is amazing. And the Romans, actually, they considered it a really sacred plant, and they would create a special ritual just around the harvesting of the plant. And I feel like these rituals are really important to bring back into our lives and into our society, if we can at all. I know we're all pretty darn busy beings, but how beautiful is that? Like, just such good connection there, I think. And then, like, back to sage being so prolific in the homes that were run by women, it also helps us women, which is fantastic. So if you are a woman who deals with excessive blood flow while menstruating, you might want to consider sage as a helper because it can help reduce some of that. It is a hemostatic herb. It also reduces bleeding and other mucous membrane areas. It is really helpful for menopausal women if you're dealing with the menopausal spotting. It's also helpful for menopausal women who are dealing with hot flashes and night sweats and all of that stuff. So on that note, I would, you could drink a sage tea, but maybe you want to make your tea and then let it cool, because who wants hot tea when we're dealing with hot flashes, right? And then another way that sage can be really helpful for mamas, especially breastfeeding mamas, if you are entering into the phase where you wish to no longer breastfeed and you're looking to dry up all of that milk, sage can be really, really helpful there because it does that. It reduces milk flow from the breast. So I think that's beautiful. Sage is super duper helpful during cold and flu season. So it does have a lot of antimicrobial properties. So it can fight off various viral infections and bacterial and fungal infections as well. So it can really come in handy if you're dealing with various respiratory issues. Like if you've got laryngitis or strep throat, it can be a great ally to have on hand. You can drink a sage tea. You can do a sage gargle. Is going to provide quite a bit of relief. It's also a diaphoretic. So if you're dealing with fever, it will help to release heat from the body, which is really nice. It has the antifungal properties that are going to be really beneficial. You could do like a foot bath if you've got athlete's foot, or use it topically if you've got ringworm. It can help to fight off bacterial infections in wounds and other crazy infections. So I think it's really fun and really important to start thinking about these culinary herbs in the many ways that we can use them as medicine. And not only as medicine, but also as like beauty treatment. So sage is really helpful to stimulate hair regrowth. So you could do like a sage rinse, maybe infuse it in some apple cider vinegar. Could be really, really helpful, and use that to rinse your hair. You could infuse it with you could do it just as a tea or infuse it in some witch hazel, and it's got some astringent properties to it. So it's going to be really helpful for people that are dealing with oily skin or oily hair or acne. It could be really helpful there. You can use it as a mouthwash. It will help fight off gingivitis and give a little bit of relief to those dealing with bleeding gums and canker sores and all of that stuff that's just really, really unfun. Right? So there's really so many ways that you can use sage. I think it's beautiful, right? And let's not forget, it's a culinary herb, right? So a lot of these culinary herbs, shocker, are amazing for our digestive health. So sage is absolutely one of those. It's what's called a carminative. I know if you listen to this show a lot, you know that carminative means that it helps to ease gassiness and bloating and tummy upset. Well, how helpful is that when we're gorging on all of these foods over the next coming days, right? So helpful. And not only that, it has a lot of bitter properties to it. So it's going to stimulate the digestive juices to flow from your liver, which is going to speed up sluggish digestion and help your body to break down fats and proteins. Yeah. That's super duper helpful. I think I talked a lot about sage right there, and there's so much more to talk about. Like I would say if you are pregnant or lactating, you don't really want to use sage in high doses for the medicinal properties. You can totally still use it in all of your meals throughout these coming weeks. As culinary use, it's totally fine. And because sage is such an astringent herb, so it's going to tone and tighten and loosen up excess secretions from the body, it can cause dryness in the mouth because our saliva is one of those things secreting from our body. So do consider those kinds of things. And then, just be wise when you start looking at things to use as medicine, and know that some of these that I'm talking about on the show may not be for you. Maybe they are, but this is still fascinating information and needs to be spread again, right? So another favorite herb of mine that I love so much, I actually drink it in my tea almost every single day, and we all use it so often in our medicine, or not our medicine, but in our food, and we should think about it as medicine because it's truly amazing, is rosemary. And when I was going through clinical herbal school, we had these really long, intensive days with amazing teachers that would come in and teach for like 8 hours. And on my breaks, I would take a walk around the neighborhood. It was in Portland, Oregon, and almost everybody had a giant rosemary shrubbery growing in their yard. So I would help myself to a little sprig of it and just tuck it behind my ear to help me get through the rest of class, which is really cool because ancient Greek scholars also wore rosemary around their necks during their tests to help improve their memory. And we'll talk a little bit more about how this was super duper effective. It was also used to burn as an incense because it was significantly easier to access than things like frankincense, and they would use that to fumigate sick rooms in hospitals to prevent further infection. which is super neato. And mamas, it's another lady's herb. It was said that when rosemary plants thrived, it was a sign that the women were in charge. In fact, there was a saying that was really well known: where rosemary flourished, the women ruled. I kind of like that. Maybe I'm biased. Who knows? Anyways, it's really fun to learn about the history and some of the lore behind all of these herbs. And I like to think about who were the people that tried these things and learned these things. And hey, I wanted to take a quick pause to show some love and gratitude to our sponsors of the Herbalist Path podcast, who make this show possible for me and possible for you too. So here it goes. Medicinal mushrooms are all the rage these days, if you didn't know already. And with great reason, because they are powerful medicine that can improve your health and your life in so many different ways when they're well made. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of stuff on the market that isn't going to be so effective. And that's why you need to find a brand that you can actually trust. For me, that brand is Whole Sun Wellness, and this is the creation of a brilliant woman and fellow mama, Jamie Bonfiglio. She's an international mushroom educator that has been working in the medicinal mushroom industry for years. And this is when she saw firsthand how many other companies take shortcuts when it comes to their products. And Jamie wasn't having it. She set out to build her company the right way. Whole Sun Wellness is here to raise the industry standards so those crap mushrooms on the market aren't getting into your body or your family's body. Whole Sun Wellness is the first company to test and report nutritional facts for all of their extracts. They go beyond industry standards every step of the way, from sourcing to extraction and final testing. And as the owners of the largest medicinal mushroom farm in the United States, Whole Sun Wellness is taking control of their supply chain for the highest quality and absolute full transparency. They're even the first company to include pure mycelium extract in every single product. So when you're thinking of getting medicinal mushrooms for you and your family, Whole Sun Wellness is exactly the ones you want. Also, be sure to check out their new Mycolites. These are the world's first dissolvable electrolyte tablets. They're featuring functional mushroom extracts that'll give you more energy, more stamina, and recovery as well. And who couldn't use all of that? The other thing is, they are these adorable little mushroom-shaped tablets, and they come in like a little Altoids box, but way cooler than Altoids because they're Mycolites. Anyways, head to wholesunwellness.com to grab yourself some Mycolites and all of the other functional medicinal mushrooms that you and your family need. And of course, you can grab that link right here in the show notes now. Yeah, what was it like back then, passing all of this information down from generation to generation? I find it fascinating. And I love that you can use rosemary as a cold and flu helper. So it does have some antiviral properties to it. It's also a diaphoretic. So if somebody does have a fever, you could think about rosemary. I love to do an herbal steam with rosemary to just help break up any stuck congestion that may be around. It's really, really fantastic. And there's a volatile oil in rosemary that's called rosmarinic acid, and it has incredible antimicrobial properties that help all of these things happen. So you could definitely drink a tea. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And you could also do a gargle. Heck, why not, right? It's also a phenomenal circulatory stimulant. So it's going to help to basically strengthen the integrity of your capillaries, which is going to be really helpful for people that have weak circulation, for people that are dealing with varicose veins and spider veins, things along those lines. And here's my favorite part. It helps to bring circulation up to the brain. So I do drink rosemary every day in an herbal tea blend specific to keep me sharp and alert, things like that. So I put gotu kola and ginkgo biloba and ashwagandha and nettles and a bunch of amazing herbs in there and the rosemary and some peppermint. And I use that to improve mental clarity and my ability to concentrate. Rosemary also is known to enhance the memory. And the cool part is it is helping to bring all of those other herbs in my blend up to the brain as well, so that I get just the maximum benefits from that. And not only that, it helps to stimulate the nervous system. So if somebody is like is letting go of coffee in their lives, I still drink my cup or two of coffee in the morning. But if I go beyond that, my brain just goes and goes crazy and I can't get anything done. So I immediately go to my brain boosting tea after my coffee. Rosemary is also known to just kind of elevate the mood at the same time. It's really helpful for somebody that's dealing with depression or somebody that is constantly tired all of the time. It's lovely. And yes, of course, it is another great herb for digestive health. So it will stimulate sluggish digestion. If you're like, oh my gosh, I ate so much food, get it out of me. It's bitter. So it is going to stimulate all of the flow of the bile and other digestive secretions that are going to help your body break down all those fats and those proteins, which is really, really nice. And if you are somebody who is struggling with getting enough food into your body, rosemary can help stimulate the appetite a bit as well. And then, yes, I think one of the things that is beautiful, it does help as a hair rinse. It can bring all that circulation up to the scalp and stimulate regrowth of hair. So that's a super helpful one. It can help prevent wrinkles as well. And, well, I mean, let's wear our wrinkles loud and proud, right? But it's nice to also rejuvenate our skin and just kind of give some support as our skin continues to do the wonderful process of aging, right? I think that's really, really important. And there are so many ways that you can get rosemary into your body or onto your body. You can make an herbal tincture. You can infuse it in vinegar. You can definitely do the teas, use it in a honey. You can infuse it into oils. I am about to do an early bird special for medicine making mamas, which is a program I'm doing that is all about how to make all of these different kinds of herbal concoctions and how to understand the ratios and the percentages and can I do it fresh and can I do it dry and all of those things. So I will put a link in the show notes if you want to get on the little early bird list. So half of the program is already built out. I will be launching the full thing in 2023, early 2023. So I am doing an early bird special there. So you could probably learn a few cool tricks to get you started, maybe making fun holiday gifts too, and just getting some really good medicine in your home. So I want to talk about one more herb, but before I do, I would like to say that if you are dealing with high blood pressure, you might want to lower your use of rosemary, or you can use it maybe in culinary doses, but you don't want to go for like a super potent dose. So use caution. Same thing goes with pregnancy. Don't ingest this herb as medicine. Cook with it, taste it, yum, awesome. So, always do your research. Sure, grab what you can from this podcast and from other podcasts and all the brilliant people out there sharing this wonderful information about plant medicine. But be careful as well. So let's move on to the next herb I wanted to talk about, which is the wonderful herb thyme. And I really always feel like I'm running out of time with all the things that come along with mom life and with I don't know, just everything, running a business, getting fun podcasts to you, all of the things. Let me know if you feel me and I'm not alone. But anyways, thyme, Thyme, Thymus vulgaris, is an amazing culinary herb, right? I'm definitely using it in a lot of my dishes over this weekend. And it's beautiful. It's another herb that was used to like fumigate all the sick rooms and clear out the sickness. It was actually considered a great compliment to smell of thyme by the ancient Greeks. And, I'm going to have to go along with that as well. I think I love the smell of thyme. And another cool thing about it is it was considered this symbol of bravery. So the women would embroider these scarves and they would have like a little sprig of thyme and a bee hovering over it. And then they would present that to their knights as this great sign of honor, which is super cool, I think. I just love learning about these kinds of things. Another fascinating thing is that thyme has this really powerful antimicrobial compound called thymol, right? And it is one of the main constituents inside of many, many over-the-counter drugs that are there to fight off cold and flu situations, expectorants, antivirals, other antibacterial drugs. And yeah, these are in our over-the-counter bright blue syrupy wacko things, but you can grow thyme in your garden and learn how to make yourself and your family some incredible medicine that will help to fight off dry, stuck coughs, that will be a great expectorant to get rid of all the stuck, yucky mucus. It's going to fight off viral infections. It's going to fight off bacterial infections. It is another diaphoretic, so it's going to support the body during the process of flu or fever and colds and all of that stuff. Of course, it's a carminative herb. It's a culinary herb. It's amazing for healthy digestion. So one of the things you'll notice with carminative oils is they're usually carminative herbs, they're usually very fragrant and they are really rich in volatile oils, which is a large part of why we use them in food, right? And they've got so much good flavor to them and it's important, right? So pay attention when you start tasting and feeling and smelling and just exploring these herbs and what they do for your body and your senses and your spirit, because they can do a lot, right? Yeah, thyme. I love it. Great for all the gassiness and the bloating and the tummy upset. It's actually an antispasmodic, so it's going to help ease spasms of smooth muscle tissue, which would be your digestive tract has a lot of that. That's what happens with the tummy cramps and things like that. So it's going to help with those things. It's another bitter herb, so it's going to stimulate those bile secretions and help your body to break down all those fats and proteins. It is a nice herb to use as a mouthwash, so you can make a nice little tea with it. It's got some antibacterial properties to fight off any bad guys trying to make nastiness happen in your mouth. It can help with ulcers and canker sores in the mouth, and it'll freshen your breath in general. And it's got antibacterial properties. So this is something you could use topically for cuts and scrapes and other wounds that might start to get really red around them and look really infected. It'll improve your circulation. So that could be really helpful for people with cold fingers and toes. It could be helpful for people with varicose veins. It could be used to ease sore muscles and just overall body aches and pains from strains and various things like that. And yeah, it's another one that you can use in so many different ways. You can make an herbal honey with it. You can make a syrup with it. You could do a foot bath. You could do a vinegar extract. Of course you want to cook with it, right? I think we all get that point is happening. Hopefully you guys are like mouthwatering like I am right now. And I just want to say, if you want to learn how to make all kinds of great herbal medicines and know that what you're doing is making something that really works. Again, I will be doing some early bird access to Medicine Making Mamas. It is a full-on program that once you join, you get access to everything for life. And there's like systems and processes, step-by-step, everything that you can download and print out. It's not fully built, so that's why it's early access. I will let you know that. But there's already things on like how to make syrups, how to make honeys, how to do the vinegar extracts, how to do tinctures. There's a tincture calculator. There's a tincture ratio chart. Like it makes your whole medicine making world a lot easier. Anyways, that's coming out in 2023. I will be doing a Cyber Monday special. And that'll be like the lowest of the low that it will be as far as your investment. And then I will, do something else with early bird access. And you can pop in and let me know what you think about it and how it helps you and what ways I could make it better for you. And I will be working over the next few months to bring more lessons to that. And then, of course, more lessons inside of Apothecary Mama, which is a slightly different scene, but a great scene. Gosh, the mamas in there are amazing. Anyways, after talking about all of that good, tasty bunch of culinary herbs, my tummy is rumbling. I'm about to pack up the van and head down to just outside of Eugene, Oregon, and spend the next couple of days with my family. I'm really excited. I really hope that you have an amazing celebration of thanks and gratitude and love for yourself. If you are able to spend it with family, beautiful. If you are able to spend it with friends, beautiful. If you are alone, know that you are still loved. I love you. And I wish you a beautiful day of ultimate gratitude as well. So speaking of gratitude, thank you so much for tuning into this episode for this long. I really appreciate you. And if you found it beneficial, please share it with your friends so that we can make herbalism spread like wildflowers. Thanks so much. Have a great one. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Herbalist Path. Being on this journey with you is absolutely incredible. If you dig this episode, please leave me a review on your favorite podcast player and share it with your friends so that together we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. On another note, I must mention that while I know you're getting some good info here, it's important to remember that this podcast is purely for entertainment and educational purposes and is not intended to be a substitute for medical treatment. While the information in this podcast is absolutely relevant, herbs work differently for each person and each condition. That's why I recommend you work with a qualified practitioner, whether that be another herbalist, a naturopath, or your doctor. So thank you again. I am truly honored that you're tuning into these episodes and on the path with me to make sure that there's an herbalist in every home again. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends so that we can make herbalism #spread like wildflowers. It has been so much fun and so, joyous watching all of my medicinal plant friends popping up in my garden, from the Ella Campaign to the Comfrey and the Arnica. I love seeing these friends pop up. And if you are still trying to decide what to grow in your medicinal herb garden, you've got to grab my guide. It's all about the most essential herbs that every mom should know and should grow. So I teach you how to grow them and the many different ways that you can use them. If you want to grab the guide, go ahead. It's free, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of delight and use out of it. And there's a link to it in the show notes. I'm wishing you tons of happy medicine planting.